Vegito vs. Broly, the ultimate showdown between Buu Saga's fusion masterpiece and the legendary Super Saiyan from the Z movies. Both are often considered the absolute peaks of Dragon Ball Z's power scale. Lately, Broly's strength has become an even bigger talking point, especially since screenwriter Koyama chimed in on Twitter about fan debates, seemingly cementing Broly as one of the strongest in Z. But does that really mean Broly could take on Vegito, or does Vegito still reign supreme, untouchable in power? Let's break it down. Vegito is the product of the Potara earrings, a fusion between Goku and Vegeta that debuted during the fight against Majin Buu, and his purpose was to create a fighter capable of defeating a Buu who had already absorbed Fat Buu and gained Super Saiyan 3 level of power, as well as having absorbed Gohan, Goten, Trunks, and Piccolo. Even in base form, Vegito had Buu completely on edge. While Buu managed to land a few attacks early on, that was mostly because Vegito was still acclimating to the fusion's power. Very quickly, the advantage swung heavily in Vegito's favor. Base Vegito is officially described in the Daizenshuu as being stronger than Super Saiyan 3. That alone suggests his power multiplies Goku and Vegeta's individual abilities by at least 400 times, and likely much more when you factor in what's often called the rival boost. The concept is pretty simple. Goku and Vegeta are lifelong rivals, always pushing each other to surpass their limits. When fused, this competitive energy gives Vegito a subtle yet significant boost. However, it's important to note that the rival boost isn't the foundation of Vegito's strength, it's an extra layer. The real reason Vegito is a near-perfect fighter as the combination of Goku and Vegeta is because of raw potential, battle IQ, and mastery of techniques. Essentially, you're fusing two prodigies into a single, unstoppable warrior. When Vegito transforms into Super Saiyan, his dominance escalates dramatically. Super Vegito easily overwhelms Buu, regardless of the tactics or tricks the villain employs. Even when Buu tries to absorb him, Vegito simply pushes back with his sheer energy. When Buu resorts to turning Vegito into candy to stop him, Vegito regains control of his consciousness and continues operating at maximum power. This demonstrates not only his raw strength, but also his strategic superiority. He's more than just a powerhouse, he's a fighter in every sense of the word. So when comparing Vegito to Z Broly, it's clear the fusion's combination of intelligence, technique, and multiplied power makes him extraordinarily difficult to surpass. Even against the legendary Super Saiyan, whose scaling in the movies is notoriously high. Vegito isn't just strong, he's designed to be the ultimate response to threats like Buu, which put him in a league Broly would struggle to contend with, at least in the context of Dragon Ball Z's canonical movie scaling. Vegito's durability as well is off the charts. His resistance to attacks like Buu's transmutation abilities makes him incredibly difficult to harm. In the manga, this is already where Vegito's power is firmly established, but in the anime it takes it even further, giving him feats that surpass what we see in the manga. When enraged, Buuhan unleashes outside space. The surrounding space begins to distort, tearing at the very fabric of dimensional walls. Alternate dimensions start collapsing into the living world, creating a threat so immense that Vegito himself warns that the universe could be destroyed if he doesn't intervene. To stop this, Vegito has to push past his previous limits, exerting unprecedented energy to break through Buu's barrier and counter the attack. This alone demonstrates that Super Vegito operates on a scale that could reasonably be considered anywhere from multi-galaxy to universal or even universal plus, given the fact that Buuhan later absorbs these punches and uses them against Vegito. So how does Broly from the Z movies stack up against this? It's actually simpler than some make it out to be, though movie 11 complicates things unnecessarily. Even in his suppressed form, Broly casually obliterates part of what was referred to as the Southern Galaxy, with Paragus' collar limiting him. This makes Broly at minimum a galaxy-level threat. Naturally, his legendary Super Saiyan form is exponentially stronger, making him far more destructive than his suppressed state suggests. Statements from Movie 8 further indicate Broly's universal level potential if unchecked. It's worth noting that the galaxies, or the Southern Galaxy in Dragon Ball, isn't meant to mirror real-world Milky Ways. The Daizenshuu explains that Dragon Ball galaxies are constructed from collections of planets and nebula, with these structures repeating infinitely across the Dragon Ball universe. This means Broly's legendary Super Saiyan output could conceivably reach cosmic proportions. Once transformed, Broly effortlessly overwhelms Goku, Gohan, and Trunks. He can even tank full power strikes from Super Saiyan Vegeta mid-charge without issue. This is remarkable given that these movie-era Z fighters scale far beyond their original canon counterparts. Even Piccolo in Movie 8 is more powerful than his Cell Saga self, already fused with Kami and rivaling Android 17 in terms of strength. Broly is such a formidable opponent that the Z fighters had to combine their ki into Goku to give him the edge to one-shot Broly, a feat sometimes explained as a plot device or an overflow of unstable ki. Official guidebooks quantify this as needing roughly a 1000 times ki boost equivalent to roughly 2.5 times the power of Super Saiyan 3, just to match Broly in his base form. Even this wasn't enough to eliminate him completely though. By Movie 10, Broly survives and gains a massive Zenkai boost from his near-death experience, making him stronger than before and reinforcing his status as a top-tier threat in the Z movie timeline. In Movie 10, Broly doesn't get his rematch with Goku, but instead ends up clashing with Gohan. This version of Gohan is significantly stronger than many fans give him credit for. According to Koyama, Gohan had been training non-stop for 7 years by the time the movie was produced. At the time, Dragon Ball Z's manga was still ongoing, and the anime staff assumed Gohan would continue to grow stronger rather than slack off, which diverged from Toriyama's eventual plans for the character. During the initial fight, base Movie 10 Gohan even remarks that he should have powered up considerably since his last encounter with Broly, referring to the battle from 7 years prior with all the other Super Saiyans and Piccolo. Many fans misinterpret this as a sign of Gohan weakening, but considerably here simply implies that Gohan feels he hasn't improved enough to handle Broly more efficiently. This makes sense, especially considering Broly himself has gained a massive Zenkai boost since Movie 8, pushing him above Gohan's current level. Even in his basic Super Saiyan form, Movie 10 Broly is at least equal to base Gohan. The gap becomes even more immense once Broly transforms into his legendary Super Saiyan form, completely outmatching Super Saiyan 2 Gohan. Broly's punches are easily absorbed and he toys with Gohan effortlessly, showcasing a multiplier effect potentially higher than Super Saiyan 2. While Super Saiyan 2 itself multiplies roughly around 100 times the base form, Broly's legendary state combined with his Zenkai boost pushes him far beyond that. Whether Gohan's rage power from the Cell Saga carries over here is unknown, but Broly's lethal intent against Gohan's family gives him zero reason to hold back. Ultimately, Gohan manages to defeat Broly using a coordinated family Kamehameha aided by Super Saiyan Goten and a temporarily returned Goku. In the same way that Cell lost the beam struggle 7 years ago, Broly does the same when being caught off guard and then pushed to his very limit. Scaling wise, Movie 10 Broly is at minimum galaxy level and repeatedly suggested to possess universal threatening power. Even after 7 years of dedicated training, Movie 10 Gohan, while strong, still needed the combined family effort to overcome Broly. When you look at the bigger picture, Vegito completely overshadows Broly, however. Even the fully trained Movie 10 Gohan, alongside Goten and Goku, would have compared to Vegito at his peak. Later Buu Saga characters such as Fat Buu requiring Super Saiyan 3 level intervention, Super Buu necessitating a fusion level counter, and Ultimate Gohan far surpass Super Buu further demonstrates that Vegito is operating on a level entirely out of Broly's league. By numbers and feats alone, Vegeta would utterly dominate, leaving Broly's universe-shattering feats as impressive but ultimately insufficient. After Gotenks is absorbed, Super Buu transforms into Buu-Tanks, a version that vastly outclasses Ultimate Gohan and eventually consumes multiple Z-Fighters. He manages to pummel Goku and Vegeta, but all that effort barely scratches base Vegeta. While Z Broly's feats in the movie, like threatening the universe itself, sound impressive, they pale in comparison to Vegito. Just as a Super Saiyan, Vegito stomps an enraged Buhan from tearing dimensional walls apart, preventing the collapse of the entire Dragon Ball universe, which is far larger than most fans realize. Even if one argues that Broly has untapped potential, Vegito wouldn't allow the fight to progress to that point. It's also important to distinguish Z Broly from his Dragon Ball Super iteration. Vegito's seemingly playful demeanor during the Buu fight isn't a sign of a lack of power. He's deliberately toying with Buu to manipulate him into absorbing him so he can free his friends. Vegito could have ended the battle instantly. He could literally erase portions of Buu despite his regeneration ability. He chose restraint to avoid killing Buu's absorbed victims. Every metric favors Vegito over Z Broly: speed, intelligence, combat techniques, adaptability, and available transformations. While some might argue that Broly could somehow surpass Vegito using fan statements or speculation, this usually relies on cherry-picked quotes from Koyama. Koyama himself has given contradictory remarks over time, even stating that his own cosmology in the matchup shouldn't be treated as canon. Relying on his statements to argue Broly's supremacy over Vegito is therefore highly unreliable. By contrast, the films make it clear that Movie 10 Gohan is stronger than his canon counterpart due to 7 years of continuous training, a fact confirmed on screen by Gohan himself. Using that as a baseline, Broly, even with his Zenkai boost, is still outclassed by Vegito. Author statements should generally support scaling, but in this case, Vegito's dominance is consistent across both manga and anime depiction. Any attempts to claim Z Broly could beat Vegito usually rely on exaggeration or misinterpretation, whereas Vegito's feats are concrete. He would decisively and comfortably overwhelm Broly in a head-to-head confrontation, making this matchup not even close.